There we go. Welcome to my channel. I'm here in Sweden, and with me from the other side of the pond, I have no other than Larry C. Johnson. Welcome once again.
Hey, I've been going over the overhead photographs of Sweden, trying to pick out the parcel of land that I want to take once we take over Sweden as well. So it's going to divide it up. I got winter vacation property.
Yeah. Well, you can
Sorry,
you
sorry.
can do that pretty much anywhere in Sweden right now because we have real winter this year.
Yeah,
Real
yeah,
winter. Yeah. Not as bad as some of the storms in the east coast of the United States, northeast, but real winter and minus degrees for a long
yeah.
time. A bit of snow. And the ski areas in Sweden, which are many, they're celebrating because it's been a couple of mild winters
Oh, really?
coming
Okay.
into this year. Yeah. All right. I followed as much as I could what went on in Davos, Switzerland past week. I didn't get much out of it. I listened to parts of Trump's speech. That was over an hour and 15 minutes. He didn't say anything, really, in my opinion. But I want to get your take. What do you think came out of these globalists that met up with Larry Fink and the all other oligarchs
Yeah.
and the politicians? Did anything come out of it?
Well, I think the globalist agenda is dead and dying. It was clear that there's not unity there's not global unity about proceeding forward with the globalist agenda. And Trump effectively announced divorce from Europe, or or at least it became clear that Europe, I don't know if in Swedish film making if there's this, the character that shows up in American filmmaking in prison, where the accountant, this meek, mild person, goes to prison, and they become the sex toy of the inmates. That's sort of Europe. That's how I'm viewing Europe now. They've gone to prison, and the United States is using Europe as a sex toy. And that's an offensive imagery, but watching this abasement, this humiliation, and particularly over the issue of Greenland, the Europeans just demonstrated they don't have a damn principle among them.
Yeah.
You can't respect people like that.
Mm,
A bunch of they're nematodes.
yeah.
These spineless worms.
Yeah,
Uh,
Macron went on to try to counter Trump's speech a little bit, wearing pilot sunglasses.
no, because his wife may have taken another poke at him. You know,
That's what
uh,
everybody's talking about.
yeah, it is. I mean, again, he's an embarrassment between Macron, Starmer, Merz. If you look at their support levels within their respective countries, they couldn't get elected if they were even passing out $1 million to every voter.
No.
So
No, they're really unpopular, and this Davos meeting sort of proved that once more. And also, Mr. Zelensky was upset about Europe and upset about everything. He actually insulted Europe with. I agree with him on that point, but
well, yeah, you saw he delivered this rant, raging, full of insults at Europe, and what did they do when he finished speaking? What did they do? Yeah, hey, hey! It's like you know, he,
it's
he was.
absolutely amazing. He just told all European leaders, including the European Union, Ursula von der Leyen, Kaja Kallas, and the sorts, basically for idiots and dumb shits. I didn't use those words, but he was
Yeah.
actually quite offensive.
Oh yeah, no, he was like uh, there was a movie Eddie Murphy did some years ago called Coming to America, where in Africa he was this king and he was going to wipers, so somebody to come up and wipe his
I
rear end.
remember seeing that film. It was quite funny.
Only in this case, he was good-natured and humor. He was a humorous guy in the movie. Zelensky is like that, except with no humor. You know,
Yeah.
so basically, he was clapping his hands and telling Europe, "Get up here and wipe my ass." And Europe, "Yes, sir. Yes, we'll happily do so. Would you like the gold leaf toilet paper?" Yeah, I mean, really, Hakan, what's going on? I mean, is why is Europe, and notice I use the term nematode as opposed to snake, because at least a snake has a backbone, it has a spine.
Hmm.
Europe doesn't have even a backbone, nor without any ability to stand up to anyone.
Well, Sweden's political management is not as known, of course, for good reason internationally. But I listened to our foreign minister. She's a lady. Her name is Maria Malmer Stenergård. Double names, as they usually have, double surnames. She's well, Zelensky, he embezzled a couple of 100 million Swedish krona, we know, but that
Yeah,
doesn't stop us from sending a couple of billion more. Ukraine must win. All right. That's the attitude
yeah,
among these microstates like Sweden, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Finland, Norway, with populations that are not as much as a bigger American city, you know. And no military force at all to speak of, because Sweden has the military facility and technology for sophisticated weaponry. But if you send it all to Zelensky and not keeping it and letting your domestic soldiers train with it, they don't let them train with this because it
right.
says it's so expensive, so we got to send it to fight Russia in Ukraine. I mean, where is their sense of morality? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think this latest forum in Davos was an utter disaster for Europe.
Yeah.
And the strangest part about it was Europe celebrated it. I mean, they didn't even weren't even willing to acknowledge that it was a disaster. They come out, they're like the pilot that crash lands an airplane and is able to walk away from the burning wreckage and go, "Well, that wasn't such a bad landing." You know,
I like your metamorphose. That's nice. Okay, and of course, there was a lot of talk about this threat of Trump wanting to take over Greenland. But I think the most astonishing thing that I personally experienced by watching was Jared Kushner's presentation of what he wants Gaza to be.
yeah. Could you believe that? I mean, good.
I couldn't.
Yeah, and that it's like the architectural design that he presented as this. Jesus, that was one of the ugliest damn things I've ever seen.
Mhm.
And you got to wonder what are these people thinking? I mean, and this goes to the corruption of Donald Trump and his family. During his first term, I was willing to make the case that Trump wasn't corrupt, that he was a billionaire, that he didn't need the money. Now, they're looting the place now,
Yeah.
and a lot of his decisions appear to be driven entirely by economics and how he'll get paid somehow down the line, like putting his son-in-law in charge of rebuilding Gaza supposedly, and he'll be in charge of all that real estate, and lots of money to be made in selling beachfront condos.
Yeah.
Please, I
And
mean, it's
also,
just
he announced what he called the Board of Peace.
yeah. What another another scam? Hey, yeah, pay me $1 billion. You can be on my board. Oh, who gets to make the decisions? I do. You don't. Do we have veto power? No, no, no. You're just there to be a face, on the picture of the board. That's it. And look, this is intended as a direct challenge to the UN, and I'm not here to make the case that the UN is some great organization that merits to continue to function. In fact, the UN needs to be revamped and revamped dramatically. You can't have France and the UK as permanent members of the Security Council with veto power. They're increasingly irrelevant as countries in the world. Make a better case that India should be on the UN Security Council with a veto power.
Yeah.
And there always needs to be at least one African country. But as you know, the problem with Africa is it is so ethnically diverse, and the differences between North Africa, South Africa, and then East and West Africa.
Yeah.
It's like those are like 4 different countries in and of themselves.
Yeah, but Africa is huge and it's very diverse, as you say. They're not unified in any way. I mean, they do have some sort of agreements within Africa, but I know too little about it, but about the continent itself. I went to Bulgaria here in Europe last week just to meet some people that's done an amazing thing. Bulgaria, as you know, used to be a Soviet Union
Right.
satellite state. And since 1991, it's been taken over by the same communists that have a cabal, a mafia, if you wish, that has all the power. And some of the outsiders, they have the Velici party, which in Bulgarian means greatness. And they managed to get into the Bulgarian parliament. And they also managed to do some reforms for the people in Bulgaria. So we were there to learn. It was very interesting to meet these guys. We have a similar problem in all the Western European countries, that we have a cabal of mafia that controls everything. But in the case of Bulgaria, they actually had real mafias with, violence, threats, economic sanctions on anybody that opposed themselves. And they managed to turn that around. So it was impressive.
Yeah, you can get in those situations and feel hopeless, but then you see the historical example. I mean, Russia's another example of a country that was really under the control of mafia, organized crime, until Putin got it under control. And so the same. You went to Sofia, I presume.
Yeah, that's the capital. We went to the Black Sea coastal town of Varna, which is the third largest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we visited parts of Bulgaria. Is not that big, but it's mountainous and diverse. They have a border towards Turkey and Greece and Serbia, so it's right in there.
Yeah.
I also enjoyed hearing the reaction from Moscow as far as this board of peace. Somebody, I don't know if it was Putin himself or if it was Lavrov or Medvedev or Peskov, said, well, we'll pay the $1 billion membership fee in your board of peace. Just use our assets that you froze in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah, because if they do that, it means the U.S. has to unfreeze the assets.
Exactly.
So that it is, I think it's just Putin trolling Trump. They're not going to, I don't think Putin's not seeking a direct confrontation with the United States, but, what's clear is the United States is still internally divided over what it wants to do, whether it wants to fight Russia or be a partner with Russia. My personal view is Russia should just walk away from the United States now, because no matter what Trump thinks, no matter what Trump believes, let's just assume that Trump is entirely above board, that I want to get along with Russia. I want to restore economic relations with Russia. We're no longer going to treat Russia as an enemy. Russia's going to be our friend. That's just Trump. Okay? But the majority of the members of the Senate, the majority of the members of the House, the majority of the media, the pundits, they all hate Russia.
Yeah.
They're not willing to have a relationship with Russia. So it's just like, then that's not going to change until, the only thing that's going to change it is the United States is going to have to undergo some sort of crisis in which when we come out of that crisis, Russia is seen as helping us out of the crisis.
Mm,
Barring that, I think we're going to continue until we go to war with Russia. That's where it's headed.
yeah. Do you think that what you just described, that there'd be such a large crisis in the United States, that they're actually going to ask for help from Russia? Is that even possible?
Yeah, I think it is. It's not outside the realm of possibility.
Okay.
I mean, and when you look at particularly what's now roiling the financial markets, the price of gold and the price of silver are just
It's
they're
skyrocketing.
taking off.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to the prices. Most people say, well, the price are going to have to come down sometime. Okay, maybe. Come down to where?
Yeah.
A price based on what? What we're really witnessing is the collapse of the dollar as the international reserve currency.
Yeah.
And part of these prices we're seeing in gold and silver reflect where the value of the dollar really is, because it's the United States is so exposed in terms of foreign debt, and it used to be, it was seen as a place of stability, safety. There's all this turmoil in the world, but by God, America, it's safe. I posted an article 2 days ago at sonar21.com, written by a friend of mine, Jeffrey Wernick. Jeffrey is the owner of BitChute.
Okay.
And he writes, it's an excellent piece describing, the transition when the United States went from the gold standard to the dollar standard. And the rest of the world came along. And part of it was, we can count on the U.S. dollar. China used to buy U.S. treasuries.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of countries were buying U.S. treasuries because it was seen as a safe haven. No matter if the rest of the world goes to hell, we'll be okay. But countries no longer believe that.
Nope.
They are dumping treasuries at an
Right.
increased rate. China in particular.
Even Sweden has dumped a lot of treasuries.
Yeah.
And the risk that many insightful economists see is China or Japan or simultaneously dumping treasuries, U.S. treasuries. That would be terrible.
Well, and countries are moving to purchase hard assets, gold and silver.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, when you get that kind of change in the financial system,
Yeah.
then it's inevitable that war is going to follow.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's a changing world. I also want to ask you a little bit about, I don't know if you know anything more than I managed to find out from media, that Russia, Ukraine, and the United States had a high-level meeting, I guess Friday and a Saturday in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates.
Yeah.
Zelensky came out of there or commented on it and said, well, there's a plan on the table. I haven't seen any. Have you?
No. And Zelensky made it clear that he's not giving up any territory.
Right.
That's right. Well, Russia's position is firm and unwavering. And that is, it's not going to make territorial concessions. Crimea, Zaporizhia, Kherson, Donetsk, Luhansk are permanent parts of Russia. They are part of the Russian Federal Republic. Russia's not there's no negotiating position where they'll stop short or give up a portion of that territory. Not going to happen. And yet there's still some people in the West that believe, oh yeah, we can convince Russia to do that. Not going to happen. What Russia may be willing to do is, right now they occupy parts of Dnipropetrovsk, Poltava, Sumy, Kharkiv. They might be willing to make deals. If Ukraine pulls out of all those other provinces, then okay, they'll pull out of those provinces that are still east of the Dnieper River. But if Ukraine doesn't take this deal, Russia's been very clear. They're going to continue taking that other territory and will allow the people in those territories to vote. see if they want to become part of Russia or not. And if they vote to become part of Russia, Russia will then incorporate them.
Hmm. I know that's the case in the Kharkiv region. They're mostly ethnical Russians, mostly in the
Yeah,
population. It's another question about landlocking Ukraine with the going all the way to Odessa.
mhm.
Um, that's probably, this is my speculation personally. I think that's what Russia also would prefer, to have the seaport in the Black Sea.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I don't see this thing ending until Russia secures Odessa,
Yeah,
because it is a Russian city.
it is.
At least going back to Catherine the Great. Um, what's going to be fascinating is when Russia uh, holds a referendum, a vote in Dnipropetrovsk and Poltava and Sumy, and that the people come out and vote, we want to be part of Russia, that Europe will be hollering, the United States, oh, this is outrageous. And all Russia is going to say, aren't you the ones that said it was okay for the United States without a vote to take over a country, Greenland?
Hmm.
Get the hell out of here. Stop talking to us.
Yeah,
Your hypocrisy stinks.
yeah. But that's my last question basically for today. What will happen to NATO? I mean, Greenland is a self-governing part of the Kingdom of Denmark
Yeah, yeah.
since long time ago, since 1951, and NATO members in Denmark since 1947. What happens if Trump does what he says in Davos? We need to take Greenland, he actually said. If
Yeah.
not, Russia and China will take it.
Can you hold on just for a second? Someone's
Sure.
knocking at my door. Stand by. Hang on.
Yep.
Hit pause.
There we go. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't see how NATO survives this. Um, they're going to lose. The war in Ukraine is going to end with a Russian military victory.
Yeah.
There is no way for Ukraine to continue this. They're going to be forced to surrender. And there's not a thing the West can do to stop it.
Mhm.
But on top of it, the actions of the United States, of Trump at Davos last week, where they did the equivalent of telling Europe, you're a bunch of bitches. You, you're our slaves. You're our vassals.
Mhm.
You don't get any say. We tell you what to do. You don't tell us what to do.
Yeah.
I think there are enough people in Europe. They may not be currently in leadership, but they're going to say, A, you don't get to talk to me like that. B, you don't get to treat me like that. And, if that's the way, if that's how this relationship's going to be, we're going to end the relationship. It's over.
Yeah.
So
There are some the European leaders currently that have a backbone, but they're very scarce. There's
Yeah.
only a few of them. And like Slovakia, Czechia, to some extent Poland. And
but in part, but then you see the likes of Orban, who,
Yeah.
he has stood up against the EU, but then he signs up on this peace board, whatever this thing is. I mean, it's a joke.
yeah, Board of Peace.
Yeah, board of peace. Oh my God. So, again, he chooses when he wants to grovel. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, in my opinion, I mean, if NATO is still going to exist, they need to rewrite the whole NATO thing, because Article 5 we put out of place.
But who's the enemy?
Yeah.
I mean, it's based entirely upon a fraud that declares Russia as this implacable enemy that's going to come invade Europe.
Yeah.
Russia doesn't want to invade Europe. It doesn't
Nope.
need the headaches,
Nope.
and it historically hasn't. The only time Russian soldiers marched into Paris was what, 1814,
I think
when
so.
as a result of, but they were marching along with a European army that was going against Napoleon.
Exactly. It was the Napoleon Wars.
So, apart from that, Russia, Soviet Union, they didn't go off to quote invade Europe. And in fact, even in the aftermath of World War II, the mythology in the West is, oh, those imperialist Soviets, they took over, the bunch of implacable communists, they took over Poland, Romania, Czechoslovakia, Bulgaria, Yugoslavia. Yet what they forget is most of those European countries fought on the side of the Nazis against the Soviets. So it's not like they were sitting there with clean hands, number one.
No.
And number two, the Soviets had a good reason to try to create a buffer. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
But so, but the history, I've come across some material that I was unfamiliar with. In the aftermath of World War II, the head of Nazi intelligence, a guy named Gehlen, he made a deal with one of the Dulles brothers. There's Alan and John Foster Dulles. One was Secretary of State, one was the head of the CIA. Basically, he made a deal with the Dulles that he would give all of the German intelligence assets, these people who worked undercover for the Nazis, he'd give those. They were throughout Eastern Europe. Yeah, they were in Poland. They were in Romania, Hungary. He'd give all of those to the United States in exchange for, not getting put on trial, and so he did. So the U.S. intelligence effort from the very beginning was really organized around this Nazi element.
Yeah.
So
this
it wasn't.
You're never going to hear this in mainstream media.
Yeah. So it's not just it wasn't that the Russians were unnecessarily paranoid. They had good reason to be paranoid.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I recommend all my viewers to follow Larry Johnson on sonar21.com and take part of his excellent knowledge and articles that you're and they come out a lot.
Yeah, so I gotta find something else to do with my spare time, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
that's how it
so
is to be retired. Yeah.
when you put this up, please send me the link because
I'll send. I will.
I like to give people direct them to your channel as well.
Yeah, that's nice of you. All right, so much. Thank you as usual. So I'll hear from you again, I hope.
All right, my friend. Take care. Stay warm. It's winter.
Yes. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.